everybody, this is Ruth. I'm one of the naturalists at Beaver Creek Reserve. This week's Trailside Treasure is one treasure that could easily be overlooked. Every spring, we are all very anxious for things to start happening again. Those of us who are flower lovers really are waiting for those flowers. Maples are one of our earliest flowering plants here at Beaver Creek. The problem is the maple flowers are 70, 80, 90 feet up in the air. That takes a lot of looking. Right now, what I'm noticing is that there are two different flowers on some of our shrubs. Right here next to me, the easy one to see is the catkin that's hanging down right here. Now, catkins are flowers, and they're the pollen producers for plants most of the time. Most of the time when you see catkins, they are the male flowers, the pollen producers. They're not the flowers that are going to produce nuts or fruits. On this particular plant, the female flowers, the nut producers, are incredibly tiny. Let's see if we can get you to have a closer look here at this little bitty flower. These little flowers they're like hot pink red. They're super pretty, but they are so tiny that they're overlooked by most people. These are the females of this plant. Now this is hazelnut. In Wisconsin, we have two different species of native hazelnuts. We have American hazelnut and we have beaked hazelnut. Now, I'm guessing that this is probably American hazelnut. I can tell better in the summer, or especially when they have their fruits. American hazelnuts, the nuts themselves are enclosed in bracts. A bract is a specialized leaf, and so it's kind of a winged bract. So the leaves go around the nut, and then the ends are flared. So you've got this kind of really cool looking little pod thing happening in your plant. And usually there'll be 3 or 5 of those kind of hooked together. The beaked hazelnut comes, the name as the bract is more encapsulating around the seed, around the nut, and then hanging down are 2 or 3 the leaves kind of close together, and so it ends up looking kind of like the beak on a bird. So it's beaked as opposed to the fringy ones of the American hazelnut. There are several different species of plants that have catkins. So hazelnuts are not the only ones. The alders, oaks have a catkin, birches, lots of different plants that we may run into have catkins. So it's not automatically a hazelnut when you see catkins on it, but if you see the little teeny tiny red flower, then you know it's a hazelnut. Hazelnut is considered a shrub. It does not get very tall, it does not form tree mass. It only gets, 5 to 6 feet tall, and it'll sucker, so it'll spread out and form a nice clump, but it's not going to grow up to be a tree. This plant is all one shrub, and so we have the male flowers, and then we have female flowers. Now this plant cannot pollinate itself. So you can't have just one hazelnut and expect to get any fruits or nuts off of it. The hazelnuts are wind pollinated. That's typical of the catkin producers. For those of us who have tree allergies, when these start to release their pollen, this can cause a lot of us some issues. The itchy eyes, the running nose, the ears that kind of get crunchy. That happens. But this flower cannot pollinate the females right here behind it. It'll pollinate another one over there. They don't, unlike apples or some of the pears and that, they don't need a different species to pollinize as a pollinizer, but they do need another plant. The female flowers sort of look like they're coming out of leaf buds. But that's a flower bud. And actually down inside of there is multiple flowers. And then these feelers come up. The red things that we see that look like a flower are actually what's going to grab the pollen and move it down into the parts of the plant that will grow the nuts. As you're out exploring, make sure to keep your eyes open for really tiny things, especially early in spring. And in a few weeks from now, we're going to start seeing the bigger grand flowers, and they're going to capture our attentions. But don't forget, there's all sorts of cool things going on all the time. Have fun as you explore, and remember, if you find something that you're not sure what it is, you can make a video of it and send it to us at Beaver Creek and say, hey naturalist, what is this? And we have a new series on the Ask a Naturalist. We'll make a video and post that, and you can find those on our YouTube channel. If you look under the playlist, you'll find the Ask a Naturalist, and you can see some of the answers to questions that people have sent in. Have fun exploring. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Eric Keisler, Executive Director for Beaver Creek Reserve. Thanks for watching this great educational video from our staff. To find out more information like this and others, check out our website at beavercreekreserve.org. You can also support us by being a member or donating to our endowment campaign, which is supporting Beaver Creek through this COVID-19 crisis. Thank you. We appreciate your time.